Looking to catch up on the latest Star Wars books? Try listening to them on audio, featuring sound effects and music directly from the movies. Star Wars audiobooks are the definitive listening experience. From brand new audiobooks such as Alphabet Squadron and the audiobook exclusive Dooku Jedi Lost to our blockbuster movie tie-in editions, you'll have plenty to keep you entertained. Start listening wherever audiobooks are sold. Bubble Up is an all-new app that is an incredible resource for organizing and managing your life, as well as a really fun way to learn about just about any topic you can possibly imagine. It's really a complete personal information management system for my life and for yours. In fact, you can use Bubble Up like I have for work, for entertainment, and personal use. Get ready to take fun and organization to a whole new level. Go to bubblup.com, that's BUBLUP.com/promo/Coffee with Kenobi, and activate Coffee with Kenobi's exclusive promo code to get started. This episode of Coffee with Kenobi is also brought to you by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. For all of your travel needs to Disney theme parks, the cruise lines, or anywhere you want to go on vacation, be sure to go to our affiliate link, which can be found in the show notes on the front of our webpage or on our Twitter feed, and sign up for a free, no-obligation, quote, get that trip to Galaxy's Edge and Batuu started through MEI and Mouse Fan Travel today. We are also brought to you by One Nation Coffee, the official brew of Coffee with Kenobi. For the best coffee in the galaxy, go to www.onenationcoffee.com and sign up for a free subscription service so you never miss out on the best coffee in the galaxy.
This is Andy Gutierrez from StarWars.com, and you are listening to Coffee with Kenobi with Dan Z. This is the podcast you're looking for.
This is James Arnold Taylor, and you're listening to Coffee with Kenobi. I have a good feeling about this.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to Coffee with Kenobi, show number 283. This is your spoiler-free place for Star Wars discussion, analysis, and rhetoric. I'm your host, Dan Z, drinking One Nation coffee out of my Star Wars Disney Cruise Line mug, inspired by a recent conversation I had with my good friend and yours, Tom Gross, about his experience on the Disney Cruise Line. What a magical thing. He will talk much more about in the next two episodes, actually, of CWK Pour Over, which we will talk about later in the show. On today's show, I'll be sharing some audio I did of some interviews I did with 4 creators who have helped make Galaxy's Edge what it is and to bring it to life. And I grab a cup of coffee with Mark Ramsey, the creator of the podcast Inside Star Wars. It is a fantastic conversation. He's an incredibly smart, engaging guy. You're going to love it. Plus, Tom shares some interviews from Joliet, Illinois' Star Wars Day that are really awesome, and he had a great time covering that for us and just having fun with his family. Can't wait to share that with you. But speaking of that, let's start out the show with Tom, Cory, and me sharing our thoughts on the recent announcement of dates for Celebration Anaheim. So pull up a chair, grab your favorite coffee mug, and let's have some coffee with Kenobi.
So who talks first? You talk first? I talk first?
Before I jump into the interviews I've got from Galaxy's Edge and Tom's great interviews from the Joliet Star Wars Day, let's bring on Cory and Tom now to talk about Star Wars Celebration. Cory and Tom, welcome back to the show.
Hello.
Hey. Yes. Okay, guys. So last week, this is the second celebration in a row that Jeff McGee has broken the news to me about Celebration when they're coming out. But August 27th through the 30th, so 27, 28, 29, so they're back to 4 days. Anaheim, of course. Celebration is coming back again, August 27th to the 30th, 2020. Guys, your immediate thoughts. Cory, let's start with you.
You know, I feel like it was funny because I had heard this. I through our thread of conversation, I feel like we had just gotten done. I mean, I'm still polishing off my Take Fives and my bottles of water and whatnot, and it's still fresh in my mind. If you guys have heard any of our shows, we've had shenanigans, but I'm still reliving that stuff. I'm still feeding off the vibe of the trailers and the beating people, the after parties, the stage parties, all kinds of craziness that I'm still living off it. And here we are, getting our money together for next year already. It seems like a little soon, but my goodness, if I'm not ready already. I mean, it's just excited to be in the moment of Star Wars, and we're getting more of it. And I think this time, Anaheim is a good place to do it. It's definitely going to have good weather.
Don't worry about that. For you and me, kind of.
I was going to say it started for you and me, and The fact that it's in an area. It's really close to Disney. I think we had a good opportunity to go do that stuff. Galaxy's Edge will be in full swing.
Right.
Have a good year underneath its belt, and so still going to take advantage of all that. Plus, again, make new memories, meet new friends, and just have a good old time. So even more power to it. I'm excited.
And by then, you guys won't even have a snowball's chance on Hoth to beat me in the push-up contest. Just wanted to let you know.
Oh, is that what you're putting that up front? Huh?
I am. You know,
Wow.
I agree with you. By the way, I mean, I'm glad. I mean, I still feel like I'm kind of not. I don't have a Celebration hangover because when it was done, I loved it and I had good memories. But I was ready to move on to the next adventure. But I feel like it's a little close, even though it's not. This might be the closest ones back to back as far as in the United States is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
But we do have over 400 days to get ready. And to be honest, we're trying to save our Coffee with Kenobi checks up so that we can do it. And we're definitely going to be there. I think that's probably safe to say. Is that safe to say we're going to be there?
Yeah, I'm definitely planning on it, making a lot of my plans to do it. Definitely, yeah.
Good.
It's definitely on the calendar. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I'm just turning around as I'm sitting here at my desk. I still have my pile of Celebration stuff that I haven't like. Oh, I look at the pile and it just brings all the memories back that I don't want to put it all away. Like I've got a pile of buttons sitting there, and I have the art that I purchased that I haven't gotten frames for it yet, so it's still sitting here.
Oh, you guys still have mine. Corey, do you still have my art?
I still have yours. Yeah,
okay.
Posters. Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's how fresh it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all still sitting here on the floor, and I don't want to put it away because I don't want all of that to go away. You know what I mean?
I do.
But maybe now that we have an announcement of the next one, maybe it's time to sort of sift through some of that stuff and start wrapping my brain around what the next one will look like. And I'm just gonna put this out there. Mm-hmm. I should put money on it. I don't think we'll see snow at this one.
I don't think we will either. We might see Snoke, but we won't see snow.
Maybe a snow cone.
Yes, I'm excited to see everybody. There's a bunch of people that I haven't gotten to meet. I'm pretty sure that Craig Dickinson's going to be there for the first time, and I've never met him face to face.
That'll be great.
That's going to be wonderful. So Craig, definitely looking forward to that. I hope to see as many people as possible. I mean, certainly we're going to apply to be on the podcast stage, once that is available for us. It's going to be a blast, as you've noticed, and as we're going to talk about on today's show. We're going to do some more video stuff, and it's going to be a blast. Tickets go on sale June 21st, 2019 at 9 o'clock a.m. Pacific time. Then hotel room blocks will be available at 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific time that same day, June 21st. So much more, of course, as we get ready for another Star Wars celebration. This will be, let's see, Corey, this will be your
fourth
celebration. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you went to Orlando, Anaheim, Chicago, and then back to Anaheim. So it'll be my fifth, your fourth, and Tom's second. So I love it. We're gonna have to. And then for the second one, Corey, didn't we have you wear the sash, right? So Tom has to wear the coffee.
That's right, the sash and then sash. Yes, the booties.
Yeah. The booties. Yeah, I don't remember you having to wear the booties, but maybe
those are new. I had to knit those. That took a while, so it's okay.
Yes, for sure. Very good. Well, let's go ahead. Now that we've got everybody ready to roll with big news, let's transition, and I will start playing for you some of these interviews from Galaxy's Edge. First up is my interview I had with John State. He is the executive chef at Disneyland, and he is a tremendously cool guy. He was very gracious with his time, very complimentary, and this is the first one, and you've seen these now, hopefully, on our YouTube channel. If you have not, if you're listening to this show right now, I'd like for you to do at some point today, if you could, when you get a moment, to go to our YouTube channel and subscribe, because I'm starting to learn how much I like making, editing, and creating these videos. It's a blast. I've always been a little intimidated by that, but the Galaxy's Edge experience and the things that Disneyland shared with me inspired me to teach myself how to do it. So I did. I got on YouTube and figured it out. And it's actually not as intimidating as I originally thought. It's so much fun, and I love your feedback. Again, thank you so much for all of your kind words and your encouragement, because it is great fun. This is a contagious thing. I plan on doing quite a bit more of it, to be sure. So here is the audio from my first interview. This one, again, is with John State. Hello, everybody. It's Dan Z from Coffee with Kenobi here at Batuu at Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland. Are you kidding me? We finally made it. I'm here with John State, the culinary director. Welcome to Coffee with Kenobi.
Greetings, or bright suns we would say is our welcome.
Yes, bright suns. There is a certain vernacular here that I think is really, really exciting. Tell me about this incredible place.
Well, we repurposed a pod racer engine to roast Rontos. We have the most dedicated droid who has a craft for roasting Rontos and Nuna turkeys. It might look a little unfamiliar at first. It might even sound unfamiliar, but you're going to notice as I give you a chance to taste this fuel, it will become quite familiar. Are you ready for this journey?
I am very, very ready. I've heard a lot of good things about the popcorn.
Okay, so I've heard that word popcorn. These popped kernels from Katsaka's kettle with this spice blend of sweet and spicy. Give it a try. See what you think.
So I've been told, John, to mix the first taste? Can you confirm this?
Yes, you want a collection of each color. They're all different flavors.
Okay.
I'll let you tell me what you think of it.
All right, I'm looking forward to this.
So Katsaka is known for collecting all kinds of ingredients across the universe, the galaxy, and Katsaka is very eclectic. Did it deliver on the...
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Bright suns indeed. This is fantastic.
Yes. Good trade.
Oh my goodness.
Good trade. If you head back over here to Ronto Roaster as a guest, you can have the Ronto Wrap. Ronto Wrap is this grilled, fragrant sausage, as I'm told, topped with slaw, grilled pork, and it's tucked in this warm flatbread.
Wow. Well, this is the hot item from last night at the opening. That every time someone walked by, people came from out of the woodworks.
It's one of my personal favorites on the savory side, for sure. If you're looking for another great snack, we have this roasted Nuna turkey jerky.
Yes, tell me about this.
There's one version is sweet, one is spicy, crafted here locally by our droid.
Right.
But let's think about some refreshments for a second.
Yeah.
Refreshments for all ages over here. We have a sweet tart, a lemon, maybe is what it's referred to, berry, maybe even a spiced tropical.
Really?
But you know, what's more interesting is I keep seeing these unique orbs over there in the end. These orbs are left here by different freighters. I think there's a beverage in there that's referred to as a refreshing sweet, maybe it's I don't know, maybe you can tell me what it is.
Yeah, I've heard off-world is known as Coca-Cola.
Off-world,
I understand it's quite delicious.
Yeah, this is good. We're learning. I'll share with the elders. But the best beverage here I'm most proud of is our blue milk from the Buba Wamba family farms.
Wow.
If you haven't had it, I'd love for you to try it.
I'd be honored. My cousin Luke told me this is really good stuff.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's breaking, by the way. It's my cousin. Yeah. All right. Cheers.
Yeah. On your next journey, come back for the green milk. That's one of my other favorites.
This is fantastic. It's sweet. I like the texture of it. It's fantastic.
Cold
for sure.
Frosty.
Yes.
I've heard the word smoothie-like. Yeah.
That's also from off-world, isn't it?
Yeah. You don't know what it's supposed to be because you're in Batuu, by the way.
I know, and it's a beautiful place. I like what you've done with the weather, too. How'd you do that?
It's home to me.
It's home, indeed. Yeah. This is great. Tell me about this pod race. Of course, on Tatooine, the Boonti pod race is such a big deal. And now, somehow, you've acquired one to roast the meat to perfection.
Well, you've noticed that here on Batuu, there's a collection of things that have been left over. We're repurposing them all the time. If you notice, you head over to Docking Bay 7, Food and Cargo. You notice that maybe what you're sitting on is leftover parts of another thruster. But this is the perfect way to roast the Ronto, and I don't think our droid would have any other way to know how to roast a Ronto without this spare pod racing engine.
Right, absolutely. And so we have a droid here working away. Tell me about this droid.
One dedicated.
Yes.
Has a craft for roasting. You might have noticed this droid has appeared someplace else.
Yes.
I've been told.
A palace, a slug palace.
Yeah. Maybe it has experience smelting. We don't do any current smelting right here.
That's good.
But along the marketplace, you might find somebody offering something that's been smelted. But our droid's dedicated. Has a role right now.
Right.
Only Rontos or the Nuna turkeys.
The droid, by the way, has nothing but the nicest things to say about you.
We get along very well.
Yeah.
It's pretty happy right now.
Very good. But, well, this has been. Is there one thing I know I'm looking forward to trying this, but is there one thing that you just think, I can't believe that this happened. This is so delicious. This is my absolute favorites. It's like picking from your children. I know that's not fair.
Yeah. I think the blue milk was magical. I think the magic of it is that it's something I've been told guests have been waiting for many years to try, and that experience becomes very personal. Right. Even though here on Batu we could probably describe it to you,
sure,
it's unique to everybody who tries it. I think we've landed the plane on that one.
I think it's perfection. Really, I mean, this is something I've been dreaming about since Luke went into his aunt and uncle's little hut in Tatooine, and this is it. You've nailed it. John, thank you so much for being on Coffee with Kenobi and for giving me a tour of this wonderful place.
Good trade.
Thank you, sir.
May you have the better hand.
Up next is my interview with Reece Martin. She is someone who is involved with the content integration for merchandise, and we were in the marketplace in Batu, and it was tremendous fun. We did some blocking to figure out where we were going to walk, what sections of the marketplace we were going to look at, what merchandise, and I was encouraged to ham it up and interact, and I certainly did that. Here is the audio from that conversation. Hey everybody, Dan Z again from Coffee with Kenobi, here with Reece Martin, the Content Integration Manager, here for all of the merchandise and the experience that is Batu. We are, of course, in the marketplace. Wow, I mean, when you're looking at this right now, you think Maz Kanata's castle, you think Tatooine. Tell me about this incredible place.
Yeah, this was.
And does your friend bite, by the way?
He doesn't. Well, don't get too close.
Yeah, I know quack and monkey lizards. You got to be careful with them.
He's a little spry.
Yeah.
So we're standing, in the marketplace, and it's actually inspired by real-life marketplaces in places like Jerusalem and Morocco.
Wow.
It's meant to feel like the heart of Batu. You know,
yes.
This is where you come and you banter, or you barter your wares, and this is where the villagers come to sell you some product, which we can talk about. If
I would love to. In fact, the Falcon's not taking me away for a while, so I've got a little time before I leave the dock.
Awesome.
Let's go.
Let's start right over here. Okay. So this is one of 4 stalls that we have here at the marketplace. This is the Black Spire Outfitters. What is really special about this shop is that the apparel that you'll find here, we actually partnered with Lucasfilm and went to the archives, and they used the patterns that the actors actually wore in the films to make these. So we have Obi-Wan Kenobi's tunic, we have Anakin Skywalker's tunic, and we also have Rey's look as well, available in adult and youth sizes. But remember to check Disneyland.com before you visit for apparel guidelines.
Yes, for sure. And these could not be more authentic.
They are, absolutely.
And you can't tell right now, but the texture on this thing is unbelievable.
Yes.
I mean, this is as high quality as it gets.
Yes, and it's super lightweight. So, when you're wearing it around, it doesn't feel super heavy. The belt, just the attention to detail and everything is amazing.
Now I can pretend like I'm actually wearing it.
You could, yes. It's available for purchase. Yes. You could actually wear it if you wanted to.
My wife is so proud of me right now.
Awesome. Well, we have another stall. You want to take a look at it?
Please, that would be great.
So now we have moved into Toydarian Toy Maker, and the story behind this spot, Zabaka is the proprietor here, and Zabaka has been here for a very long time and is familiar with all the sort of lore of the Star Wars stories. So that's why you'll find characters here like Darth Vader and like Princess Leia and Lando Calrissian available in artisan plush. Of course, we have our mainstays of Chewbacca. He's my favorite, my spirit animal. We have porgs, but you'll notice just like the different texture, right? This isn't...
May I?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow,
it's different than the plushes you'll find in other areas in the park.
Yes.
Yeah, made to feel very, very handcrafted and artisan.
It's a beautiful texture to it, and it's a high quality item too. It's really nice. The pictures don't do it justice, really.
Yeah, you really have to come to the planet and check it out.
You do.
We have some more fun stuff here. So also available at Toydarian. So like we talked about a little bit, we're on the planet of Batu, so we're using items and products and materials that Zabaka would find on Batu to make these items. So we have wood, we have metal, and some familiar pieces probably for you. I'm going to quiz you. I'm sure you know.
I'm ready.
Right? So does this look familiar to you?
The Jarek table.
Yes. So what films did this one?
Oh, that would be A New Hope, and it's also in Solo.
And it's also in Rogue One.
That's right.
Yes. So this is the analog version that you can see in those films, and the holographic version is available in the New Hope on Millennium Falcon.
Yes.
We have Sabacc cards. Legend has it that if you're really good at this game, you might win your very own Millennium Falcon.
Ooh.
And then this one stumped a few people. Do you recognize this guy?
Really?
Yeah.
Rogue One.
Ah, perfect. Points for you. Yes. This is Stormy the Stormtrooper. You can see him in Jyn Erso's bedroom in Rogue One.
Now, see, the only problem here is that how am I going to get this home on my suitcase? Because I want all of this.
Did
this
you not
is
plan
awesome.
ahead and bring an extra
I
carry-on?
brought a huge suitcase with like 4 shirts or something like that. Because this is the Bith instrument, right?
If you want to audition for the cantina, so you can either use the little pin pad here to play your own music.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Or you can actually play an iconic tune from
I've heard that before.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Did you visit the cantina?
I did.
Perfect.
Many times.
Awesome.
Yes, this is a star, and this kind of reminds me of the design of the Droids cartoon from the 80s. It kind of looks similar to that.
I've heard that earlier today
Yeah, I
as well.
bet.
Yes.
Oh, this is great.
Very handcrafted, artisan, like you said, well-made products.
Yeah,
Right.
unbelievable.
So we have one more stop. It's where I found this guy. You want to go check that
I
place
do,
out?
I
Okay,
do.
all
I'm going
right.
to keep my eyes on him, though. I know
again,
they're
I
full
don't
of
think
mischief.
he's used to you yet.
Well, no one really is.
Okay, so we're headed over to the creature stall.
Sure.
So first we're going to say hello to my sleeping friend. Don't put your fingers in the cage.
I
You might
won't.
wake up. Okay.
Loath cats.
Yes, Loath cats. And you can see that we're friends with Zabak over here as well. She donated a porg for him to play with.
Well, that was kind. Now, what is the food that the Loath cat is eating?
That's a great question.
Fruity Pebbles?
Perhaps.
Yeah.
A galactic version, maybe.
Yes. Well, kibble. They look like galactic kibbles, I think.
Actually could
And
be.
then this is, of course, the only time we have seen a Loath cat that's not from Star Wars Rebels in an animated form. This is the first lifelike one, not in the movies, not anywhere. This is the only place that you can find this, and Loath cats are adorable.
Yes, and we have them available for adoption.
Oh, really?
Yes. So this guy, you can pet his back and he'll purr at you. But again, they're sort of temperamental creatures, right? So if you pet him wrong, you might get a little ferocious.
Oh, I love it. May I?
Yes, absolutely. So all of the creatures that we have available here each have their own personality and each have the sort of fun little tricks that they do for you. The story behind this location is that Bina is the proprietor here, and she spends all of her time sort of searching the galaxy for all different types of creatures to bring back here to Batuu for people like you and me to adopt. So
Sure.
I named him Clarence.
Clarence.
This is Clarence.
Seems like a Clarence.
I feel like he's a Clarence. He looks left and right, and you can make him talk, and he has his little iconic cackle to him. He's adorable. Face only a mother could love.
Can I hear the cackle?
Sure. I'm going to get real close to you.
I'm ready.
It's all
I'm
right.
ready. The Mark Dodson voice. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Wow, that's so cool.
And we have warts. We have the Kowakian monkey lizard available in the blue coloration, porgs, tauntauns, banthas, wampas, pretty much anything that you can want.
So great.
Right? We have porgs. This guy's fun. He's a little puppet. You just put your hand right inside, and you can make his wings flap. And he makes little noises too. I'm not going to smack you with his wing.
Well, to be smacked by a porg is
That's true.
a
It's adorable
gift.
still,
yes,
right?
Yes,
Absolutely.
for sure. I want to ask you about this puffer pig.
Okay.
My son Mason is a huge fan of Star Wars Rebels, as am I, and we love these puffer pigs. Now, I've heard a rumor that these things don't do more than just look really cute and adorable.
I mean, this, again, a face that only a mother could love, I feel like. But Mason, this is for you. Yes. So you squeeze this guy, and he makes a really...
That's so great.
That is the puffer pig for you.
It's the
He's
cutest
adorable.
whoopee cushion I've ever seen.
Yes. Oh, you know what? I hadn't thought of that application. That's great.
Wow, this is amazing.
Thank
Reece,
you.
thank you so much for taking me on a tour of this place. So much more to come here on Coffee with Kenobi. Be back in a little bit. Again, if you haven't seen these yet on YouTube, please go to our Coffee with Kenobi channel, subscribe, and check them out. I think you can hear the excitement in my voice, and I think it really comes through on the video. And I want you to see this merchandise. It is incredible quality. You're just going to be absolutely blown away. Even if you're just an average collector, just someone who wants like 1 or 2 Star Wars things, you're going to be surprised at how cool it is. And speaking of cool, up next is the audio of the interview I did with Disneyland Ride Project engineer Steve Goddard from inside Smuggler's Run. Yes, inside the actual attraction building for Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. This was the one, I mean, I like them all for different reasons. They all have very exciting things that I got to do. This one I got to have a little bit of fun inside the Falcon. I got to walk through the kind of the hallway of the Falcon, make kind of a really cool entrance. And for the video itself, I used most of the drone footage that they supplied. Again, kind of taught myself how to edit video on the fly for these, and I had an absolute blast doing it. This interview was incredible fun. Be sure to check out the video. But in the meantime, here's the audio, and you get to hear me fix the Millennium Falcon, which is a really, really fun sentence to share. Here we go. Hey, everybody. It's Danzy from Coffee with Kenobi here on the fastest hunk of junk in the galaxy, the Millennium Falcon. I'm here with Steve Goddard. the person who helped engineer this incredible experience. Hey, welcome to Coffee with Kenobi.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Now, I got to ask you something first because, safety is first. Is this a safe ship, the Millennium Falcon?
He's a hunk of junk.
Hold on. Oh, there we go. Hold together, baby. Is that what Han Solo says? Wow. Well, thank you. I think that answers that question.
You saved the day.
With Hondo and Naka, you never can really tell. So tell me about what into this incredible experience.
Oh, this is 5 years in the making. We dreamed this ride. We did some surveys. We talked to everyone. What's your Star Wars experience? What do you want to do? Overwhelmingly, it is fly the Millennium Falcon. Right. So that got the ball rolling. We knew we had to build the Falcon here. We knew we had to build this ride.
And so when you're thinking about this, you want to give an authentic experience because people I've been dreaming about this since I first saw A New Hope in 1978 at a drive-in in New Orleans, Louisiana. So you got to make it perfect. And you have. Tell me about just this. I've been to Disney World, I've been to Disneyland many times, but the queue that you've done here, it's worth the price of admission itself.
Absolutely. And when we started this attraction, a small group of us flew out to London and go to Pinewood Studios where they film all the Star Wars episodes. We spent 2 or 3 days sitting in the set of the Millennium Falcon and just sketching and photographing and figuring out how we could turn this into a ride vehicle. And I got to say, when you walk in and you sit in the seat, it's a bit of an emotional experience. It's hard to not get a little choked up. So we came back and we did that, and now we see guests walk out with the same emotional experience that we had when we first saw the set work.
Absolutely, and it's nice because before you actually enter, you of course talk to Hondo a little bit, but you get to go around here for a few minutes. You get to take pictures. You don't have to worry when you're here on Batuu because you'll get to be a part of this. You'll get to sit here and take a picture. And that's genius.
Yeah, you have all the time you want to just wander through this room and sit at the chess table and check out the sleeping quarters and look at Luke Skywalker's helmet and a porg nest up here.
Yeah, I am noticing the detail, of course, is unbelievable, which I expect from Disney and Imagineering. But tell me about these Easter eggs right here.
We just tried to put some things around the holding bay where guests would recognize them and experience them. The helmet, the porg nest, the sleeping quarters.
Right.
A lot of the crates are kind of authentic to the scenes.
Sure. Now let me ask you about the attraction itself. So I rode this thing 4 times already, and I made sure to do all of the different positions. My first question is, the first time I rode this thing, I think I came out of Lightspeed too quickly. I was in an asteroid field. I was ashamed of myself. I need to redeem myself at some point. But tell me about how this thing is not the same attraction every time you're on it.
Oh, it's completely interactive. You're flying it, you're steering it, you're firing the blasters, you're repairing damage, firing harpoons, and so it's a real-time generation machine.
Right. And so you're a gunner, you're an engineer, and you're a pilot. What kind of challenges did you face coming up with these 3 different positions?
Yeah, we wanted to give everyone something to do. We wanted everyone to have fun, but we didn't want to overwhelm them. And so we tried to set it up so that you can be as into it as you want. You can be smashing that button as fast as you can, or you can be looking out the cockpit windows and letting the ship take care of itself. So I feel like we hit that balance of giving everyone something to do without overwhelming.
Right. No, and I think you've successfully done it because, one thing I did notice is that during the day, it's a different attraction than at night.
Oh, absolutely.
And I did not expect that at all. I mean, again, the immersion here, I need a thesaurus to come up with a different word than immersion. You think an English teacher would be able to do that, but maybe not. It's just unbelievable. Thank you so much for giving me and my children, when I bring them here, this incredible experience.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Hey, thank you so much. We'll be back with much more on Coffee with Kenobi.
Thank you.
For the last one, I interviewed Greg Ashton, who is someone I interviewed in front of the Thai Echelon stage to talk about integrating the story and the storytelling aspects of Batuu and working with the story group into this theme park experience. Here's my conversation with Greg. Hey, it's Dan Z again from Coffee with Kenobi here with Greg Ashton, executive, what's your official title?
Executive Architect.
Executive Architect. Is there a cooler title than that? I tell you what, that seems so appropriate because this place is unbelievable. Tell me, my friend,
Thank you.
About the design of this gorgeous environment.
Oh, thanks for being here.
Of course.
It's a 14-acre expansion.
Yes.
Here at the Disneyland Resort, and what we really were trying to do is we created a whole new planet, the planet of Batuu, and the outpost of Black Spire on the outer rim.
Right.
And it was an amazing experience to kind of extend the Lucasfilm storytelling and be able to bring this place to life for all our guests.
Right, and see, that's the thing we kept hearing about, the immersion, the storytelling aspect. And it delivers in a way you can't possibly imagine until you get here on Batuu. Because I don't feel like I'm at Disneyland. I feel like I'm here at Black Spire Outpost because you've created a story. Every part of this place tells a unique story, doesn't it?
Right. You know, as an architect, our job is to tell stories with the buildings, you know, where we are, what's happened here. And if you look around, and this is one of the things, you know, we've been doing this for 5 years and putting all of that detail in there. So if you look around, you'll see blaster marks on the walls. You'll see where droid prints through the mud, and carts and speeders crashing into the walls, all this stuff. So it looks like it's been here for hundreds of years.
Right. So you worked obviously with the Lucasfilm Story Group. What was that experience like, collaborating so closely with this brain trust that helps to make everything connect? Because we're like in the canon Star Wars when you're on Batuu.
Oh, absolutely. You know, we got to work directly with Doug Chang and Eric Tiemens, and they've got an amazing legacy with creating Star Wars stories, and it was amazing. So we got to learn a little bit about their process, and that means that you sort of take some inspiration from history and real world places, but then you transform it, and this is kind of what George Lucas and Ralph McQuarrie were doing. So working with their team and sort of going all the way back and so connecting that and turning it into this and being able to finally bring Star Wars Galaxy's Edge to life for our fans, so you can walk through it and experience it firsthand. It's really been an amazing opportunity.
It so has. So tell me, like, in Star Wars, where are we at story-wise on Batuu as far as the movies go?
So Black Spire Outpost is the largest city on Batuu, and it's been here. There's been some mentions of it before, but we're really coming into the story, after The Last Jedi.
Right.
And so we're just part of that continuous story chain.
Right.
So
yeah, and Chewbacca loans the Falcon to Hondo so he can do a mission. So we got the Falcon down here, but when you're on this side of Black Spire, you are in First Order territory. Tell me about that and what guests have in store for them.
So you get to be a part of your own Star Wars story. Right. So if your allegiance is to the First Order, you'll be able to interact with stormtroopers, and that kind of behavior is going to follow you through the land. And the same thing if you've got you're more allied with the Resistance. Right. You get to experience that. It's ultimately an immersive story that you participate and you direct.
Right. Well, tell me about the design of the TIE Echelon. This is a vehicle not yet seen in Star Wars, but it's gorgeous. Tell me about this.
It's amazing. So this is the TIE Echelons here, grounded at one of several docking bays. This was like one of those must-haves. Yes. If you're going to do a Star Wars land, you've got to have domes, you've got to have docking bays, and you've got to have ships. Oh yeah. So we've got X-Wings. You already mentioned the Millennium Falcon. Yes. That's practically the castle, and we've got speeders and smaller droids all around. So it's just it's wherever you look, you should be able to see these amazing things that bring Star Wars to life.
Right, and I heard there's a rumor going around about that Kylo Ren might
make an appearance.
That might be cool until you realize Kylo Ren is the real deal. And I got to see the show last night that they do over here at the TIE Echelon. Very, very cool.
It's great, right? And it's not staged. It's something that an event that unfolds just as part of you're living in the land here.
Right.
So
right. Well, this whole thing is authentic. It's like nothing I've seen before. To say it exceeded my expectations as a Star Wars fan would not be doing it justice. You have to come. And it's thanks to the good people like Greg that makes it possible. Greg, thank you so much for being on Coffee with Kenobi.
Oh, thank you very much. Great to be here.
Pleasure.
Enjoy your stay.
Thank you so much. Again, all these were so fun. Greg was a really, really great guy, too. I mean, really, everybody was so nice and so genuinely enthusiastic about what they were doing, about bringing Galaxy's Edge to life. And it was palpable. It was contagious, as you can hear in my hey every time I introduced the clip, because I was so on fire for what I was doing. And I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed bringing it to you. Again, Be sure to go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. It helped continue to build the brand of Coffee with Kenobi and spread the word about all the fun things we were doing at Galaxy's Edge, covering these events and all the fun things that Star Wars is offering us. My goodness, they were not kidding when they said that 2019 was going to be the year of Star Wars, and we're only halfway through. So much more fun to come. Let's go ahead and take a quick break, and when we come back, I will share an interview I did with Mark Ramsey, the creator of the amazing podcast Inside Star Wars.
This is Vanessa Marshall, and you're listening to Coffee with Kenobi.
None of what is happening on Coffee with Kenobi, where we go to Galaxy's Edge or Celebration or bring you a show each and every week, none of it happens without our CWK Patreon contributors like Jason Hall, Rebecca Raven, Dennis Keithley, Colby Mead, Nancy Evans, Dave Ritchie, Ross Halibin, Frank Mulder, Alexander Moylan, Melinda Wolf, Aaron Harris, Chris Kavarka, Angela Sauce, Mediocre Jedi, Christine Turk, Darth Mucky, Sean Reed, Kurt McKellen, Dan Ream, Brian Harding, Blake Weaver, Jim Capron, Caroline Maselli, Chris Metz, LJ Souter, Thea Selby, Jeff Ellis, Daz Davies, Christian Dale, Brian McKinney, Connie Shee, Jared Cantor, BJ Smith, Eric Struthers, Nick Deco, and Mark Suter. It really is exciting that each and every week you are hearing brand new names because so many people are on board with Coffee with Kenobi's Patreon page because you get a lot of cool stuff. For example, you get access to CWK Pour, which is our weekly podcast not heard anywhere else, hosted by myself, Tom Gross, and Corey Clubber. We talk about all kinds of pop culture topics, behind the scenes stuff. It is a tremendous blast to record and to share with each of you, and your feedback has been great. As has your feedback for CWK Lens, which is my daily, it's like Instagram or Snapchat, where I get to talk with you, some videos, some pictures of behind-the-scenes things that happen in the Coffee with Kenobi studios, different ideas of things that I have for the show. Sometimes I bounce ideas off of you. I give you a ton of behind-the-scenes stuff when we cover things. It is also great fun because of the interactivity and the fact that we get to share the Star Wars experience together. Again, your monthly donations make all the difference in the world for helping me to give you everything I want with Coffee with Kenobi. And now that we have discovered I have the video bug, I want to be sure and create even more stuff and more content for our YouTube channel. That is where you come in. But again, you get CWK Pour Over, you get CWK Lens, and all kinds of fun stuff coming soon. I've got something really, really cool planned besides the exclusive podcast and the CWK Lens feature. I've got something really, really fun coming that I'm trying to kind of figure out here. And when I do, I'll be sure to let you know. So if you have any questions, be sure to go to www.patreon.com/coffeewithkenobi to sign up right now and help benefit the show. Thank you so much. Looking to catch up on the latest Star Wars books? Try listening to them on audio. Featuring sound effects and music directly from the movies, Star Wars audiobooks are the definitive listening experience. From Luke Skywalker to Kylo Ren to Admiral Akbar, you'll recognize all of your favorite characters. Listen to movie tie-ins like The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens, and original titles such as Alphabet Squadron, Master and Apprentice, and the audiobook exclusive Dooku Jedi Lost. With Star Wars audiobooks, you'll have plenty of Star Wars listening to keep you entertained. Available wherever audiobooks are sold. Like so many of you, I have a very busy life. I run this podcast, my family, of course teaching, and even now I teach summer school, so there's still plenty to keep me busy. So I need a way to get organized and keep myself excited about all the things going on. And I've tried a lot of apps to do that, but the best thing to keep myself organized that I've really fallen in love with is this incredible app called Bublup, Bublup. Because, for example, it's really fun to use, it's beautiful, it helps me keep everything organized, like keeping information that I need, whether it's an outline for the show, whether it's creating stuff for guests, whether it's planning a vacation to Disney World and to see Galaxy's Edge and Batuu, or whether I want to figure out a lesson on Mark Twain or Shakespeare, because that is something that is important to me. So Bubble Up, B-U-B-L-U-P, is the way that I'm able to do that. I can research stuff for podcast episodes. Really, the list goes on and on. And I was lucky enough to be one of the first to contribute to Bubble Up. I have a lot of information out there on the mythology of Star Wars, different characters, different resources, a lot of stuff for educators as well. I've created a ton of what is called a Bubble Up roll, where you can basically make a list of your favorite videos or articles or different pieces of writing, and it gives it to you in this beautiful laid out thing. It's almost like a magazine / search engine / so much more. You really just need to check it out for yourself. Bubble Up, again, B-U-B-L-U-P, is an all-new app that is an incredible resource for organizing and managing your life, as well as a fun way to learn about just any topic you can possibly imagine. It really is a complete personal information management system for my life, and I think it will be for you too. In fact, again, use Bubble Up for work, entertainment, and personal use. Get ready to take fun and organization to a whole new level. So what you need to do is go to bubbleup.com/promo/coffee with Kenobi and activate Coffee with Kenobi's exclusive promo code to get started on Bubble Up. Again, B-U-B-L-U-P. It is going to change your life. Another game changer, of course, is going to Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland, or soon at the end of August at Walt Disney World. And the absolute best way to do it, the most pain-free way, where you don't have the headaches that is sometimes involved with planning an incredible vacation, is to use MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. They have signature service and expert advice to help clients maximize their vacation time and dollar. I use them for all of our travel needs for this show and with my family, and it's great because it's a no-cost, no-obligation quote when you use the service, and they also proactively adjust a booking if the rate goes down. And that, I'm telling you, that is going to save you so much time, effort, and money. They help your family enjoy everything the Disney theme parks and the cruise lines have to offer, will help plan every detail, and share invaluable tips. Be sure to go to our affiliate link, which can be found in the show notes on our website or on our Twitter feed, and sign up for a free, no-obligation quote. If you grew up wanting to know how to tap into the Force, then check out this new book from author and lifelong Princess Leia wannabe, Sarah Bowen. It's titled Spiritual Rebel, and it's full of creative ways to reach out and feel the Force around us. Mining the world's philosophical, scientific, and wisdom traditions, Spiritual Rebel draws from ancient masters and modern Star Wars inspiration to offer a 3-week program designed to inspire the Force within you. Sarah also divulges juicy tidbits from her own spiritual journey, including the wisdom of Yoda, meditating with her cat, and so much more. Ask for Spiritual Rebel at your local bookstore or order on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or your favorite online reseller anywhere in the galaxy. For more on the book and a special bonus for CWK fans, go to spiritual-rebel.com/CWK. That's spiritual-rebel.com/CWK. We are back, and we are here with the awesome Mark Ramsey. He is, of course, the maker of podcasts. Well, let's go back to the beginning. Inside the Exorcist, Inside Psycho, and then we turn over to Inside Jaws, and naturally, Inside Star Wars. Mark, welcome to Coffee with Kenobi.
Thank you, Dan. I'm thrilled to be here. Yeah, all roads lead to Star Wars.
Exactly. That's what we've been saying for years on Coffee with Kenobi. Go ahead and tell us, if you would. I mean, obviously, the history of Star Wars is so rich. It's a mythology behind the camera, as much of a mythology as in front of the camera. But what drew you to this project initially?
Well, I think I first have to ask, why is it Coffee with Kenobi instead of Tea with Kenobi? The man was British. The man's going to have tea, not coffee.
Well, as an English teacher during my day job, the alliteration is what drew me to that.
That makes quite a bit of sense, actually.
Yes.
Point taken. So what drew me to it? Well, first of all, this series has always been about kind of movies that were bigger than their time, bigger than life, not just iconic, but iconic why, right? And you can't touch on things that are iconic without touching Star Wars. Eventually, literally, all roads lead there. And I think for me, and I tell the story in the final episode, you haven't heard the whole series yet, have you?
No, you were kind of sending me an advanced copy, but I've been saving the last one. I don't want it to end. So
I know. Neither do I. I completely understand that. So, I mean, and only 4 are published now. That's why I ask.
Right.
So, in the final episode, I kind of tell the story of what it was like to be in that theater in 1977, because I was, and that has and you know what people don't realize. Because there's so much Star Wars everywhere today. There's Star Wars places, there's Star Wars TV, there's Star Wars video game casts. Is that there was a time before all this. There was a time before wipes. There was a time before a used universe of space gear. There was a time before spaceships moved fast in dogfights. There was a time before all that. I remember my dad, when I was a little kid, took me to see 2001, and I thought, okay, well, this is ponderous. These things moving like molasses across the screen. I guess I'm supposed to marvel at this, but it's kind of slow. And that was the norm when Star Wars came out in 1977, and people forget what things were like before then. There was nothing like this. I tell the story in the series that Lucas said to Alan Ladd Jr., where are the fairy tales for kids today? I mean, we've got the legacy of Vietnam. We've got Francis's Apocalypse Now. We've got all this negativity, all this anxiety. Where are the dreams? Where are the bright colors? Where are the comic books writ large for kids today? And there really wasn't any before Star Wars. And I think what I try to do with this series is to remind people why they fell in love with the franchise in the first place. Because when a new movie comes out, a new Star Wars movie, a new Star Wars universe, I don't care what it is, part of the franchise, it's not the same because it's an extension on something you've seen before. There are tons of threads of familiarity to what you've seen before. What made the original so amazing was that it was vastly different, and yet it connected to everybody because of what happened in the final scenes of the film.
Beautifully said. And they all tie into that wonderful Jungian archetype that, of course, one of the things that drew George Lucas to this story and storytelling, of course, the Joseph Campbell connection is very prolific. I feel like when I talk to my students, the only thing I can possibly compare it to was, it's not even, that's even a good comparison either because there really isn't one, but when The Force Awakens came out in theaters, that was the closest to the hype I had seen because I saw it when it first came out. Mm-hmm. And there was just this palpable excitement in popular culture. It's even more impressive when you consider that when Star Wars came out, there was no thing, called the internet. So the word of mouth, of course, starts very, very quietly at a Comic-Con and then kind of builds from there. And then people start lining up and creating this incredible experience.
Yeah, those were the days when word of mouth actually was words from actual mouths. Yeah. And I remember, I tell the story at the end of the series, but I was out of town. I was elsewhere for the summer, and I was with a group of people, and somebody said, hey, let's drive into town and see this movie Star Wars that we'd all heard about. But hearing about it in those days wasn't like hearing about it today. Trailers then weren't what they are now, and the experience just didn't convey. And this whole notion that now we know the inside and outside of everything, that every cast member, every filmmaker has been interviewed ad infinitum in advance about these projects as they come out. You've seen the Quentin Tarantino thing. It was like, here are shots of the actors in costume. Boom, it's big in the trades. It's like you can't escape this stuff now, and then you couldn't find it.
So true. And there's just a lot of profound insights. One of the things that touched me with the premiere episode is early on, you do this great thing where you jump back and forth in time, where you have a conversation. I'm assuming a fictional conversation with George. Or did you actually talk to George for this?
George doesn't talk to anybody. In fact, I had that conversation with his biographer. I said, did you talk to George? He said, no, he doesn't talk to anybody. But he said, fortunately, he's talked a lot over the years.
Yes. You're talking about Brian J. Jones? Is that who you're
Brian
talking
J.
about?
Jones, yes.
Yep.
There's a bonus episode with Brian, who wrote the biography, George Lucas, A Life. So, but no, it was as is true in all the conversations that exist, all the dialogue that exists in this series, it's all constructed with the idea that I'm trying to imagine what the people would actually say. I mean, it's a movie. I'm making a movie, not a documentary. And the essence of a movie is you try and be true to the essence of the characters without trying to capture, specific dialogue from that era, which none of them remember anyway. So it's best to try and resurrect it in their spirit. And specifically with Lucas, I was really, in all these characters, I really try and put myself in their shoes and say, what would he be saying now? What would he be thinking now? Based on everything he said, based on everything we know, what would be the words coming out of his mouth? And I really tried to capture that. And in some cases, I use words that have come out of his mouth. But again, that conversation with Lucas will come back at the end of the series, where he'll really, I think, put a nice bow on both the lesson of the series, which is deeper than Star Wars, and the lesson of the movie.
Absolutely. There's sort of a beauty, sort of a lovely tragic beauty in that first narrative where you do have a conversation with George that I think is great. And I've had the good fortune to meet him and see him a couple of times because of the things we do on our show. And he's a fascinating guy. And I'm sure, obviously, the story of how Star Wars was made, as I said at the top of this, is almost as legendary as the franchise itself. But what did you, as a researcher, as a fan, as a creator, what did you learn about the creation of this that you didn't know before?
Well, I think certain things became poignant when I got into them. Two things became particularly poignant that I didn't expect. Sometimes when you work on a project, by the time you get to the end of it, certain things are revealed by doing the project. It's like writing a book. You learn things by writing the book that you didn't expect you learned by going into it. And two things came out. One was that I think I realized, and I tried to convey this in the last chapter, that the key part of the movie is actually just before the climax of the movie. It's when Luke's cruising down that down the, what do they call it, the shaft to get the Death Star, to destroy the Death Star.
Yes, the Death Star, the trench run.
The trench, thank you. Cruising down the trench to destroy the Death Star, and he takes the computer screen away from his eyes to use the Force. And it is that move which enables him to destroy the Death Star. And I thought, well, wait a minute. Why does everyone applaud? Does everyone applauding at the Death Star being destroyed, or is everyone applauding at the fact that Luke killed the Death Star because he trusted himself? And then I thought, well, would this movie be anywhere near as iconic today? Would we have a franchise today if it weren't for that moment? The moment where he pulls that, if he just simply destroyed the Death Star because he used the computer, would it have anywhere near the same power? And then it occurred to me that, first of all, no, it wouldn't. But it also occurred to me, well, this is the story of George making the film. George trusted himself. He didn't trust the powers that be. And it was that trust in himself that allowed him to overcome his obstacle, to destroy his Death Star, to kill his dragon. And that was that moment symbolized. And then it occurred to me that this is a story for everybody, right? We all have Death Stars. We all have dragons. We all have obstacles. They're not out there. They're all in here. And what George was really trying to tell us is trust yourself and you can overcome your obstacles. I did, Luke did, you can. That was, I think, one of the key insights to me that I really tried to dramatize in the last chapter of this series, because, again, I want people to appreciate what brought them to the franchise in the first place. So that's one. The other thing that was revealed to me as I went through here is really the central role of Carrie Fisher. And as I've said to others, that the beating heart of Star Wars is the beating heart of Carrie Fisher. She is it. She is the center. I start at the beginning, you've heard it. The early days of Carrie Fisher, when she's in her mother's arms. Her mother was Debbie Reynolds, huge star at the time, hugely humiliated when Carrie's dad ran away with Elizabeth Taylor. And Carrie, of course, decided she was never going to be an actor. So naturally, that's exactly what she becomes, an actor. So I take her through the experience of being in Shampoo with Warren Beatty. I take her through the experience of auditioning. That was this week's episode, which you've heard, which is my favorite episode, actually, because it's so full of joy. The idea of these young, struggling actors trying to get a job, against all odds, putting up with the crap that is auditions. And then that call comes and they get the job, and there's a joy to that, which is just impossible to appreciate until you hear or see it dramatized or you live it yourself. And then, of course, next week's episode is going to be the shooting of the movie. And then we go away from Carrie for a while, but she comes back. She comes back in an airport in England when she's boarding that plane from Heathrow to LA, which, of course, was the plane in which the flight in which she died. And then I go through that whole story and the legacy and how people responded to it, and how Mark Hamill responded, how Harrison Ford responded, how Lucas responded. And then I have Lucas say something in my conversation with him, because I ask him, are you surprised at the outpouring of emotion from the loss of Carrie Fisher? And he says, no, we lost Carrie Fisher, you lost Princess Leia. And then he goes on to describe, but actually, I see her everywhere. She's in the eyes of every girl who aspires to anything. She's in the eyes of every woman at every protest that's fighting against something bigger than they are, stronger than they are, in the hopes and in the belief that they can overcome that obstacle. That is their Death Star. That is their dragon. And Carrie is their hero. And I thought that legacy, the legacy of Carrie Fisher, is at its heart, again, the story of Star Wars.
So, Coffee with Kenobi listeners, you can see why I was so excited to talk to Mark, and I could easily listen to you talk about this all day, which fortunately I can, because you've gone through and created this incredible podcast series inside Star Wars. And what you're describing now is in the Campbellian hierarchy. It's the apotheosis. It's the death and resurrection of self, whether it's a physical or a spiritual death. And that is exactly what Luke does. And I agree with you. That moment, when every semester I teach my senior mythology students about what is the key apotheosis moment? Why is it important? What can we learn from this? How do these metaphors extend to us as people? And you just perfectly encapsulated that. I'm also fascinated in your research process. Research can be daunting. It can be rewarding. You have to be incredible with organization. You yourself, Mark, of course, have to tell a story about a story, which is a beautiful meta commentary, really. What is your process like? And I know that's kind of a loaded question, but what is your process like for researching something like this?
Okay, that's a great question. Well, I begin with the facts, and then I shift to the truth. And this is often misunderstood. You know, the facts are not the same as the truth. The facts are the facts. The truth is the deeper essence, the reason why the facts are salient, are meaningful, are relevant for people who didn't live those facts, right? In other words, why bother to tell this story at all? Is it to create a director's commentary? Is it to tell a documentary about the making of Star Wars? Quite frankly, I couldn't care less. My goal is to tell the larger story, the larger truth. And that is never in the facts. It's only of the facts. So I begin by, of course, going to the resources which are available. In this case, the wonderful George Lucas biography by Brian J. Johnson, Rinsler's book on the making of Star Wars. Those were two primary sources. There were a couple of books about Alec Guinness, one a biography, one an autobiography that I used. There was a Peter Cushing. If you've heard episode, I think 5 or 6, I take a little side trip about Peter Cushing, which I hope is quite moving and illustrates a lot about his character. So I had a book from him. And, of course, Carrie Fisher's book, The Princess Diarist, along with a few other books that were lesser sources and tons of online information, tons of online sources. And all of that goes into a hopper. From then, I'm outlining all kinds of things, putting things in a structure. And then I have to ask the larger question, which is, what's the story that this leads to? Because, again, I could do a documentary. I could have interviews with Hamill and Lucas if they wanted to provide them. I didn't want to do that. We've heard them speak a million times. They're on YouTube all over the place. They're on the DVDs and the Blu-rays left and right. Not only that, but their stories change over time, as you probably know.
Yes.
I mean, Lucas in particular is adept at evolving his story as the years go on. This is why I think, yesterday I had an interesting back and forth with Mark Hamill, who went out of his way to correct this idea. He said, you created this idea that I was living with Robert Englund, crashing on his couch. And I said, well, you could crash on a guy's couch without living with him. I didn't mean to imply that. And he said, look, Robert wasn't the only guy that told me about the audition. There were other people. And I said, look, I said, now you're lost in facts. Okay. The essence of the truth is that Robert and others told Mark, who, according to Robert, spent at least one night on his couch, about this gig. And I love the interchange between Robert and Mark in the podcast. I just thought, and the thing that you didn't say, but I think is worth saying, is that it's a single voiced effort, right? It's all my voice. It's more like a campfire story or a bedtime story than it is like a show with actors. So it's me doing all the voices, and I'm not imitating people in general. I'm just doing the voices. So, but the back and forth between Robert and Mark is kind of precious because, it's, they're talking over each other. It's kind of fun. It's a fun conversation it's a bromance, right?
Yes.
And I thought that moment was really cool, and it set Mark up great for his audition. But it was funny that that Mark was debating the facts of history, which he lived with me, who didn't live them. And, but yet even he appreciated that there was a larger story here. So that interchange was just funny. So I take the facts and then I weave it into a story where there's the purpose of telling the story is not retelling the facts. You get my drift there?
Of course, yeah. And any good editor will tell you there's a lot of facts here, but what is the story? What can you do to put a unique, fresh spin on something? And that is exactly what you do, what you continue to do with your quality work for Wondery. And I my goodness, besides the research and obviously your passion for it, I love when you shift into different voices. Sometimes I think, wait, that's still Mark, right? I mean, you're a very talented individual, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate what you're doing with this project. And I can give you a list of a number of other Lucasfilm stories that I'd love for you to adapt into an Inside series as well.
Well, I appreciate that. It's funny. Now that I'm in the space of all these various things, I did a project with Reno Wilson from Good Girls and Mike and Molly. I'm working on a project now with Sarah Wayne Callies from The Walking Dead and David Harbour from Stranger Things. And you can't be in a studio with Sarah and David and watch them do their thing without being impacted by it. And it instantly, I told Sarah that it made me up my game just being there. I would say putting down the audio for this took twice as long for Inside Star Wars as it did for Inside Jaws, because I was really trying to get the performances right. These are not cringeworthy radio drama performances, folks. No. This is a sincere attempt to do it well. And not only that, but I think also the fact that it is one voice, there is a different degree of freedom. There is a different expectation and a different understanding that these are not different people. It's one person doing different people, and so it feels different. So I was also trying to create a thing, where people would come to it with and abandon certain expexpectations. Yeah, which is why I get disappointed when anyone comes to it and says, "Wait a minute, I was expecting to hear, Luke Skywalker interviewed, or I was expecting, why are you faking an interview with George Lucas?" Well, the answer is because it's a friggin' movie, folks.
That's right, and
it's not a documentary.
That's right.
When an actor plays a real person on the screen, you don't say, "Hey, that's Leonardo DiCaprio. He's not fooling me."
Exactly. Yeah, I try to explain to people, this is what you do, Mark, is it's like this wonderful hybrid. It's a story, it's a radio dramatization, it's a mythology, it's entertainment, it's theater, it's just a feast for the ears. I truly can say, I was very excited to talk to you just because I love your work, but I like the style and the way, and I've said this already, the passion you put into this, because it comes through very, very well. And our listeners of Coffee with Kenobi have been overwhelmingly resounding in their love and appreciation for what you've done. I highly encourage people, if you haven't already, you heard we have on our feed, we have a trailer that Wonder was nice enough to send over to us, where you can listen to the beginning of this. If that doesn't hook you, I'm very confident that it will. But what you can do is you can go right now, you can go to iTunes or anywhere you listen to podcasts and subscribe to Inside Star Wars. Mark, thank you so incredibly much for coming on Coffee with Kenobi. Please let everybody know where they can find you and your great work.
Well, I appreciate that. And let me just say, too, that I'm glad it comes through, because more than anything, my goal in doing this, my goal and the goal of my amazing sound designer, Jeff Schmidt, who just does all the work on the Inside series, does a great job, is to move you beyond what you would expect from a simple documentary. We want to make you feel something. We want you to, be happy when Carrie's happy and be sad when Lucas is sad, and get the message at the end. At the end, George Lucas, is in my rear view mirror. I'm driving away, and he turns back home. He turns back to his family, because that's his life now, his family. And I try and lead people to a place where they say, you know what? How do you top what you did for 40 years when you say goodbye? Well, suddenly you have children, you have kids, you have a family, and you realize that maybe that's the most important thing of all. And I thought that was a powerful lesson too. So we're trying to make it bigger than just, how did they make the sound?
Right.
They make the sound of Chewbacca, So I appreciate that very much. So more about me. InsideStarWars.com is where you can find the series. We have 4 episodes published so far. There's 7 total. 8th is a bonus with the author of the Lucas biography, which also was great fun, by the way.
Yeah, he's great. He was on the show as well.
Oh, terrific. I'm glad to hear that. He is amazing. And Twitter at Mark Ramsey Media or at Wondery Media. And I look forward to feedback from all of you guys, all of the listeners to Coffee with Kenobi. God bless you all. Thank you for being such fans, for believing in this project and this franchise. And I hope you listen to the show.
Thank you so much. Mark Ramsey, ladies and gentlemen. We will go ahead and take a break and be right back. This is Coffee with Kenobi.
Listening to Coffee with Kenobi, you are the podcast you're looking for. This is...
Wow, what a show. Much longer than we have been doing for a while, but there was so much going on and so many wonderful conversations we've had over the past week that I just had to share them with you, and I hope you enjoyed them as much as I enjoyed bringing them to you. I want to thank John State, Reece Martin, Steve Goddard, Greg Ashton, Mark Ramsey, and Tom Gross for his great interviews from Joliet Star Wars Reads Day, and I'd also like to thank Tom and Cory for stopping by to share their thoughts on Celebration. I'd also like to thank our CWK sponsors, Penguin Random House Audio, Bubble Up, Spiritual Rebel, One Nation Coffee, and Mouse Fan Travel. Please support them the way they support our podcast, and remember to listen to new and archive shows of Coffee with Kenobi wherever you listen to podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Stitcher, YouTube, which again, please go to and subscribe so you can enjoy all the videos that we have from Galaxy's Edge, as well as from the Solo Press Junket and so many more other things over the years. Now that I've got the video bug, I am ready to give you even more content from the video side of things. Very excited again. Please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe there when you can. We would appreciate it so much. And of course, go to our website, www.coffeewithkenobi.com. And if you enjoy listening to the show through iTunes, please leave us a review. You can also find us on social media such as Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest, and we'd love for you to check us out there. Be sure to listen to our CWK family of shows too, including Legends Library, Resistance Reactions, Comics with Kenobi, and Lattes with Leia. Please leave a review for each of their shows as well, and be sure to subscribe to each of them individually as they all have their own feeds now. In addition to the places I just mentioned for Coffee with Kenobi, you can find me twice a month on the podcast Looking at Lucasfilm, part of the Jim Hill Media Podcast Network, and you can find me personally on Twitter at Mr. Zer, M-R-Z-E-H-R, and you can find my writing on CWK's website, as well as StarWars.com, where I am an official blogger, as well as on IGN, where I contribute articles on Star Wars and some other popular culture topics. Don't forget to check out www.patreon.com/coffeewithkenobi to help support this show, as well as get access to CWK Pour-Over, our exclusive podcast not heard anywhere else. There are also t-shirts, coffee mugs, daily video conversations, and so much more. Thank you for taking time out of your week to join me. As always, thank you for supporting this show, whether it's on Patreon, or on Twitter, or on Facebook, or on YouTube, or wherever you do. We appreciate it so very much. Until next time, this is the podcast you're looking for.
This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or Lucasfilm Limited. It is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars, all names, sounds, and any other Star Wars-related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Disney and their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Coffee with Kenobi unless otherwise indicated.
This is the podcast you're looking for.
There's no one here. Move along. Move along.
Looking to catch up on the latest Star Wars books? Try listening to them on audio. Featuring sound effects and music directly from the movies, Star Wars audiobooks are the definitive listening experience. From brand new audiobooks such as Alphabet Squadron and the audiobook exclusive Dooku Jedi Lost, to our blockbuster movie tie-in editions, you'll have plenty to keep you entertained. Start listening wherever audiobooks are sold. Bubble Up is an all-new app that is an incredible resource for organizing and managing your life, as well as a fun way to learn more about just about any topic you can possibly imagine. It's really a complete personal information management system for my life, and I think it will be for you as well. In fact, you can use Bubble Up for work, entertainment, and personal use. Get ready to take fun and organization to a whole new level. Go to www.bubbleup, that's BUBLUP.com/promo/coffee with Kenobi, and activate Coffee with Kenobi's exclusive promo code to get started.
Hello, everybody. This is Tom, your CWK newsman, and I am with my daughter Kaylee, and we are headed to Joliet today for the Joliet Public Library Star Wars Day, which we have never been to before, and so we thought we'd check it out. And that was the American Library Association's 2018 event of the year. But I've mentioned Kaylee here a couple times, so let me introduce her and bring her onto the show.
Hi, everybody. It's great to be here today.
Indeed it is. And we are following tradition that Dan Z and Cory Club started many years ago, where when you're going to an event, we start the intro in the car on the way to the event. So we thought we would follow that tradition, and we are on Interstate 55 heading to Joliet, and we are really excited about this event. So I have to ask Kaylee, when we go to Star Wars events like this or Comic-Cons or things like that, what is something that you are always looking forward to? So what are you looking forward to today as we head to Joliet?
I'm looking forward to like the unique things that like are able to be purchased, and like cosplay and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, cosplay for sure is one of my favorites. I love seeing the individual art that these artists create. I loved seeing some of their things and having that opportunity to purchase those from them at events like this and get their personal signature and maybe chat with them a little bit about their work and their art and what they love about Star Wars. Now, I saw earlier that John Jackson Miller will be in Joliet today, so I hope to get to chat with him and have him sign my New Dawn book. That's something I'm looking forward to, and just kind of bringing in the atmosphere and the energy of Star Wars in a different setting that we haven't seen before. So, Kaylee, I wanted to ask you, when we're thinking about cosplay, who are some of your favorite Star Wars characters that you might want to see in cosplay, but maybe not? It might just be, who are your favorite Star Wars characters?
In cosplay, I like seeing Sabine because the way some of the things people come up with, like the armor and the art on the armor, it looks really, really cool. Rey's also one of my favorite characters. I like how tough she is.
Now, I know that you've dressed as Rey in the past, and it's funny because I know at Celebration this year, they had a big Rey gathering, and there were hundreds of Reys in one spot. And I have to say, I thought of you a lot when I saw that, because that was one of the costumes that you have worn before. I love your call on the Sabine costume. I always think that those are really neat, too. She's a new enough character that there aren't a ton of Sabines out there, but the ones that we do see are always really cool. I think when it comes to cosplay, I love a good Stormtrooper, and looking forward to seeing a host of Stormtroopers. I always think a good Darth Vader is really menacing and fun to see. We are about an hour away from Joliet, so we're going to sign off, and hopefully we'll catch you while we're at the show. Talk to you soon. All right. So the parade is now finished. Kaylee and I went to the parade and caught some of that. Maybe you saw it on the live stream. But one of the things that was really cool and surprised us was the Stormtrooper tank from Rogue One. And I tracked down after the parade the owner and creator of that tank. And so I want to bring him on and ask a few questions about that. So I'm going to start by saying I didn't ask you what your name is. So your name?
My name's Don West. I'm the owner-proprietor of Veteran Garage Props. We are a nonprofit out of Kentucky, and we brought Phil, lovely named, our TX-225 Rogue One tank.
Awesome. Well, let me tell you, that is something special. Now, I've got a lot of questions for you, so I hope you got a second.
Yeah, definitely.
So tell me about how does this tank, first of all, get down the road?
It drives itself. Well, not itself, but there's a car underneath there. We took a Mercury Grand Marquis 2000, chopped it up as best we could, welded a steel frame around it, got the center section with plywood, and everything on the side that you see is actually modular, so it comes off so we can transport it on a trailer.
Oh, very cool. That's now about how many? Do you have clock hours on how long it took to build this?
Oh my gosh, close to, I'd say total build time almost 7 months. So from start to finish, about 7 months, over a span of almost 2 years.
Wow, that is unbelievable. So tell me some of the reaction. How many parades has this wonderful piece been through? Is it more than you can count?
No, not at all. We just finished building it to spec last May, where we presented it for its debut at the Pegasus Parade, which leads off the Derby in Kentucky. And then we did the Lexington Parade, Joliet, and then we came back again this year for Joliet. So, yeah, it's we love taking her out when we can, because most of it is still plastic. She says he's very sensitive to heat, so we try not to get her out in the midsummer months anymore.
Understood. Now, so did you were driving that today?
Yes, that was me in the driver's seat.
Okay. Now, is there anyone else that rides in that with you typically?
Typically, yes. If I can find a tank commander to stuff in the hatch, that's my hatch plug, and usually I'll take about 2 or 3 different characters to ride along in the back too. We try to keep it close to Rogue One as possible, so that way it gives the air more of an authentic look.
Awesome. Well, this is a wonderful piece. It's beautiful, and I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today. And tell us one more time, like, where can we, if we want to see more pieces like this, first, before I wrap up, have you created other pieces for Star Wars that are like this?
Yes, I have. I was part of a different build group. I basically left that group, but they have all of my other builds that I made. I created a 15-foot tall half-scale ATST, self-standing.
Wow.
So twin speeder bikes that you could actually sit on and ride, single stand, and a 95% scale indoor bunker wall.
Wow, that is awesome. So now, if we wanted to see any of these, do you have photos out somewhere on Twitter or on a website? Tell us where we can check out some of those.
Sure. Just go to Instagram, Veteran Garage Props, and we've got most everything. Yeah, we've got a lot of pictures on there. So awesome. We've been to different conventions, Celebration, and we do this all for charity. We dedicated my nonprofit to raising charities for Norton Children's Hospital. Okay. Several years ago, back in 2016, met a young boy named Phil Parks, diagnosed with terminal brain cancer. Huge Star Wars fan, and he was basically the catalyst of everything that was Star Wars in the state of Kentucky. He brought so many people together. We banded a 501st squad, then we did a garrison. Now we've got 3 squads. So because of him and his love for Star Wars, we all came together, and I started building props. And all the donations that we collect go to him, are in memory of Phil Parks, which is why the tank is also named Phil. And They go straight to Norton's Children's Hospital.
Well, fantastic. Doing great work for that, Norton's, the hospital, and bringing a lot of smiles to Star Wars fans' faces. Thanks a lot for joining us.
No problem. Thank you.
All right.
If you get a chance, we also did a fan film. It's on YouTube for free for anyone to watch. We've got rave reviews from it so far. Please check it out. It's called Star Wars Hand of the Empire. And the only link that's on there goes directly to Norton's Children's Hospital if you want to send donations.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And we'll check back in with everybody else in a little bit. Thanks for joining us. This is Tom signing off. Well, hello again, everybody, and we are back, and we have just left the Joliet Star Wars Day. We're back on I-55 heading home, and so we want to kind of recap our day and talk about the things that we've done. So just as a reminder, I'm with Kaylee here. And so Kaylee, first of all, just in general, did you have a good day?
Yes, I had a lot of fun at this Star Wars event.
Yeah, indeed. It was a good time overall. And so I think for us to recap, we're going to kind of go over our top 3 things that we really enjoyed about this event. It's a great event put on by the Joliet Public Library. And it was our first time going. And so, Kaylee, do you want to kick things off with your number 3?
Sure. So my number 3, we went to eat lunch at the Joliet Route 66 Diner, and they had some pretty good food there.
So that was your number 3. And tell me, what is it that you had that was so good? I know, but share with the audience what you had that was so good.
I had a double cheeseburger with fries.
And I just want to tell you that this double cheeseburger was like the size of her head. No. And when it came, we thought she was crazy and would never be able to put a dent in that burger. And I have to say, she ate the whole thing down to a couple of bites. So anything else special about the diner that you liked?
The way it was set up was really cool. They had cars on the side, so the tables, and then there was a wall kind of thing in the middle, and they had cars set up around it. It was just really cool how they decorated it.
Yeah, that was pretty neat. Now, what about all the waitresses? Anything special about them for today?
So they all were wearing Star Wars shirts for today.
Yeah, that was fun. And they also, everybody eating in the diner, because it was right across from the library. Everybody in the diner was decked out in Star Wars, and the waitresses, like Kaylee mentioned, were all in their Star Wars shirts, and it really gave a feel of community. So I think that's a good choice for number 3. Let's see. Number 3 for me is going to be, let me think about this for a second. I'm going to go with the street atmosphere. The street atmosphere was a lot of fun. The cosplayers, a lot of them stayed out in the street. Now, just to give you a picture, the public library in Joliet is in a downtown area, and so it's a very downtown feel. Buildings close together, really narrow streets in this particular area where the library is. You got the Rialto, the famous Rialto Theater in the next block over, but it's very visible because it's a parking lot kind of courtyard area between the two. And they had the streets closed off around there. They had live bands playing. Now, they weren't cantina bands and they weren't playing Star Wars music, but it certainly gave that festive atmosphere that I think you're looking for when you come to a place like this. And then you had they had food trucks out along the library, once again adding to that festive atmosphere. But then what made it Star Wars was all of the cosplayers that the 501st, the Rebel Legion, the Mandalorian mercs that were hanging out in the street, and just giving it that sort of Jeddah type feel, where just they're crowds, but among the crowds are stormtroopers and Jedi and Erdio Two Tubes, or I'm messing up his name, but it was really cool seeing some of the characters out there and just adding to that sort of environment outside the library. So that was my number 3. How about your number 2, Kaylee?
My number 2 was the parade, because that it was super exhilarating. It was waiting to see all the cosplayers, and the huge tank was amazing.
Yeah, and was it what I was thinking about, and I'm actually going to say the parade was probably number 2. No, I'll save the parade I'll let the parade be your number 2, but I will add to yours and say that tank was totally unexpected. Were there any cosplay costumes that you were surprised to see?
There wasn't anything that I was extremely surprised. I didn't think that anyone would do that, but my favorite costume was the Captain Rex and how detailed it was.
Yeah, that was cool, and I'm surprised to hear you say there wasn't something that you didn't expect, because what about that Dianaga, who is the big trash ball with the eye sticking out?
Oh, yeah, that one. I didn't see that one in the parade, but I saw that one. I saw him in the streets.
Yeah, I think you're right. It was not in the parade, but it definitely was walking around in the streets. Okay, very cool. My number 2 is going to be the Artist Alley, and then John Jackson Miller, the author of New Dawn, was up there, and we had the opportunity to talk to him. But what's really cool about that was, while the room was rather warm and it was packed with a lot of people, the artists and everybody were very accessible. And so we might have stood in line for, 4 or 5 minutes for any one of them. But when we got up there, again, very quick in comparison to some other conventions that you might go to, waiting 5 minutes to see John Jackson Miller was really nothing. And the amount of time that he was able to spend to talk to us. And so he signed my book, A New Dawn, and we talked a little bit about Kanan and Hera. And then we sort of shot the breeze about the Milwaukee Brewers, which I happen to know he's a big fan of, and just got to kind of feel like I got to know him a little bit. And then same thing with the artists that were there, and again, their prices were super reasonable. And so we picked up some signed art today for several pieces for under $20. Which I thought was really, really cool. So that's my number 2, because I love walking away from Star Wars events like this, conventions, with just some mementos and some things to remember, as well as things that are really personalized, like an artist on a really cool piece of work, signing it to you or to me or something like that. So that's my number 2. So. Okay, so what's your last highlight for the event?
So when you and some of your friends were trading cards, my friend and I, we went and played this game that they had going down a few floors, and it was called Beat Saber, and it was like a VR set that what you were doing was put on the TV. So you had these 2 remote controls, kind of like a Wii or something, and you would hold down a trigger and you break the boxes like a lightsaber duel or something, and that was just really fun, and exhilarating.
So I didn't go with you when you did that, so I'm kind of curious, were you competing against someone else, or were you just kind of competing and trying to get a top score?
You were just trying to get a top score and just having fun.
Cool. So was there a lot of action and movement? Did you stand up to play this, or were you seated in a chair with a VR headset on?
You stood up to play it, and I don't think it would work if you walked around or anything, but I don't think there weren't any really problems with that.
Okay, cool. So that's your last highlight? Okay. And then, so my last highlight was, it's kind of 2 in 1 here, but I think you'll understand why. Mine is just getting to hang out with all the people that are there. had the opportunity to meet up with Greg McLaughlin. He is on the podcast Rebel Base Card, the Rebel Base Card podcast, and we had hooked up ahead of this event, and so we brought some Star Wars trading cards, everything from vintage 1977 blue set all the way up to the current day Last Jedi cards, and the Road to the Force Awakens cards, and Rogue One, and everything in between. And so we sort of sat down and looked through each other's collections and told stories and told memories. And in that time, White Boba Fett, Dan Lowe stopped by and talked to us for a while, and we just had a great time visiting. And you had the opportunity to hang out with Greg McLaughlin's daughter, who you guys are close in age, and so you made a new friend today, which I think is super cool. And so just hanging out with people, trading Star Wars cards, and just connecting with the community. That is what, to me, that's what these Star Wars events are all about, is bringing community together and just having a good time and sharing memories and sharing stories and learning from each other, and all of that. It all comes together. So we had fun. We're on our way home. We're tired, but obviously energized and excited about what we saw. And so I hope you enjoyed listening to this segment of our pre and the couple things that we did during the show, and then our recap of the show. So if you've never checked out the Joliet Star Wars Day, I have no doubt it'll be happening again next year. So if you have the opportunity to be in the Chicagoland area at the beginning of June, end of May, definitely check out their schedule and see when they're having it next year. I have no doubt you'll have a great time. So for Kaylee, I am Tom, and we'll catch you next time.